Welcome back to the Relatable Black Girl podcast, where I'm your host, Simone. And on today's episode, I want to talk about romanticizing your life and just making yourself a priority. When a lot of people think about romanticizing their life, they think about buying themselves gifts, they think about buying themselves flowers. And while I do feel like that is a part of it, it's not necessarily the concept of it. Well, it really isn't the concept of it at all. The idea of romanticizing your life is creating a healthier relationship with you. And a lot of people don't know this, and I think because it's been like so popularized on like TikTok and Instagram of just buying yourself gifts and flowers, and you're gonna go broke. Okay, you are going to go broke if that is the only way that you choose to romanticize your life. For me, romanticizing my life is about enjoying my own company and just really being at peace with being alone and not having to have someone around me or having to go to this or go to that. I can sit in the house comfortably with my dog by myself and read a book, and I am happy with that. And I feel like what helped me get to this place in my life was a lot of positive self talk. I was hanging out with a friend one day, and I started to realize that I did not like the way this person was talking to me. And then it made me think about, well, how do I talk to them when they come to me with a problem or they need something from me? And I started to realize that, I am not getting back the same respect and just healthy communication from this person that I give to them. And then it made me start to wonder, like, well, how am I talking to myself? And why did it take me so long to notice that this person was being so disrespectful when speaking to me, and I was just brushing it off or not really taking it that serious? I started to realize that I needed to be the friend that I was to other people, to myself. And once I started to just be more positive and stop being so doubtful, because sometimes I feel like I was deserving of things, but I still was very doubtful that I could accomplish it. And I think those feelings still come, but they don't last as long. I have like a minute of doubt, and then I'm like, no, girl, you got this. Whereas before, I would just be like, I can't do this. Like, I can't accomplish this. This is too hard. I would just feel like I couldn't do it. So I just wouldn't even try sometimes. And I started to just speak to myself more positive, and even if you don't do a good job, or at least you tried, even if you go and you bomb this interview, at least you tried, and then the next interview will do better. And that's the mindset that I started to have, is that it's always an opportunity to do better, to get better. And I had to stop regretting things so much. I feel like that was something that really, really helped me, because I think that that's where the doubt was coming from, because I've made mistakes and then I'll be regretting it, like, why did I say this? Why did I say that? And I had to really learn to forgive myself and know that it's okay. You're human. You're going to make mistakes. You have to start giving yourself grace. I started to realize that I did not like the way a lot of people around me was treating me. And I know people always say once you hit 25, your like prefrontal lobe develops, and then you're like getting rid of all your friends. And I really do feel like that's true. I am 27 now, but I've made a lot of big changes in my life from 25 up until now 27. And a lot of them has been getting away from people that I feel like are not treating me the way that I deserve to be treated. Because once I started to elevate myself and I started to put a standard on how I talk to myself and how I treat myself, I'm not going to have anybody around me and they're trying to bring me down and be negative. Especially when that's not the energy that I'm putting out to them. Basically, I started to become the friend to myself that I was being to other people, and the friend to myself that I just needed. A lot of people in your life are so entitled. They feel like they're entitled to you, they're entitled to your kindness, they're entitled to your presence, your listening ear, your shoulder to cry on, and they're not. I started to decenter everyone else and I started to prioritize myself and my needs. And one of the ways that I feel like really helped me was creating routines for myself. My schedule can get crazy sometimes, but I really pushed myself to plan out my week and make sure I do the laundry, make sure I wash the dishes, make sure I sweep, I mop. And I know how hard that can be when you just don't feel like it or you're just really not in the mood and you're just keep walking past that chair of laundry or that bad habit of leaving all your clothes in the dryer until you need them. And I had to really just start breaking those bad habits. And you really need a clean environment in order to really relax. You're not going to be relaxed when you look at the sink and it's full of dishes. You look at the floor and it's your hair everywhere. You're not really going to be able to relax because in the back of your mind, you feel like you have things to do. You want a clear headspace because that's what's going to help you make better decisions when you constantly got all these things on your mind and to-do lists, and that's going to make it harder for you to like make good decisions because sometimes if we have a lot to do we do nothing, or sometimes when we have a lot to do we're not putting all the effort we could into accomplishing those things. We're like half-assing it just to get it done. When it comes down to romanticizing your life and prioritizing yourself, everything kind of ties into one another and it just flows. So, for me, one of the ways that I started to romanticize my life was acts of services. I would cook myself dinner, and I still do. I cook myself dinner, and I make sure that what I'm eating looks appetizing. It's something that I want to eat. It tastes good. The plate that is on, it matches my aesthetic. The silverware matches my aesthetic. The cups match my aesthetic. I'm lighting a candle. I'm playing music. I'm dimming the lights. And to do these things, let me first off say, like, to do these things, it does not take a lot of money. You can literally go to Ross, you can go to Burlington's, and you can find things that match your aesthetic without breaking the bank. But these little things just makes me feel good, you know? I'm gonna make sure I run myself a bath, and I'm gonna have the Epsom salt, the candles. I have a bath tray. Sometimes I read. Sometimes I just relax. And then when I'm getting ready for bed, I'm mindful about what I'm putting on to go to bed in. I started to throw away all those clothes that I was sleeping in that were just like old clothes or from previous relationships. Like, girl, you haven't seen that man in 3 years. Throw that t shirt out, okay? And I started to sleep in actual pajamas and having a night routine and reading a book, and these things all help me, and I know it helps me because when I wake up in the morning, I have something positive on my mind. Whereas before, I would feel like I would wake up in the morning and it would be immediately something that I really didn't want to think about. Or I would immediately like jump on my phone and start scrolling. Whereas now, I'll just lay here and just relax until I have to get up and do whatever it is that I have to do. In order to really appreciate the kind gestures that you do for yourself, you have to start appreciating yourself. You have to start appreciating you. You have to start speaking positivity into yourself. You can't always wait on someone else to tell you that you're doing a good job or that you look good, or no, like tell yourself. I look in the mirror and I'm like, I look good today. I smell good today. I like the way my uniform looks on me. And even if I have a rough night, when I get off of work in the morning, I'm like, I made it through the night. I'm just excited that I everything that came in my way, I overcame and I made it through that night. And just to know that you are always going to have people criticizing you. And that's when the strong relationship that you have with yourself comes in handy. Because if it's not constructive and to help me, I'm tuning it out. If it's just to destroy who I am as a person or an ego boost for that other person, I am completely tuning them out. Having a healthy relationship with yourself is knowing that it's always room for improvement, but you have to be able to decipher whether someone is trying to help you or if they're trying to hurt you. Or if it's just an ego boost for them to make you look bad and like, oh, she didn't know this, but I know this. You have to really have a clear mindset and be very mindful of who you are as a person. And you also have to start seeing people for who they are, no matter what age they are too. Because sometimes we'll work at places and we look at older women and we're like, oh, like my mother. But really, sometimes those older women are a little bit jealous because they feel like you're the new, younger replacement of them. And really, you're not. I'm not replacing you. I just work here too alongside you. What you do is equally as important as what I do and what I have to offer as well. And some of them can't see that. Remember, you are the most important person in your life. So always make sure that you're okay mentally, emotionally, physically. Don't push your needs aside for others. They will not do the same. They will not show up for you the way you show up for them. Not everybody. You can have some really good friends, because I do have some really good people in my corner that I feel like show up for me how I show up for them. But most people will not. So always put you first. Always be the main character. Always be the priority. And you can do that and still be considerate of others and their feelings. But just make sure you're setting boundaries, you're setting standards, and you're setting expectations. I really hope you guys enjoyed this podcast episode. Make sure you share it. Make sure you leave a review. I'm Simone. This is the Relatable Black Girl, and I will see you guys next time.